Good morning, everybody. Welcome students, staff, guests from the community, and especially our veterans who are joining us for this Veterans Day program. World War I officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919. However, the fighting ended about 7 months before that when the Allies in Germany put into effect an armistice on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918 was largely considered the end of the war to end all wars and dubbed Armistice Day. In 1926, Congress officially recognized it as the end of the war, and in 1938, it became an official holiday, primarily a day set aside to honor veterans of World War I. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today as we honor their patriotic service to our country. Please join me in a round of applause as we recognize all those who have answered the call to serve our great country. Please rise now for the presentation of the colors by VFW Post 7929 and the American Legion Post 169. At this time, Amery High School senior Rachael Locke, an AHS senior enlisted in the Army National Guard, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. At this time, I will introduce Amery High School senior Mr. Joseph Wentz, who will read the Presidential Proclamation for Veterans Day.
The following is a presidential proclamation from President Joseph Biden. America has the greatest armed forces in the history of the world. To those who serve and to those that serve alongside them, their families and caregivers, we owe a debt we can never fully repay. During National Veterans and Military Families Month, we recognize and thank them for their indispensable contributions and immeasurable sacrifices in support of our national security. As we approach this season of Thanksgiving, we send our gratitude to millions of service members, veterans, military families, caregivers, and survivors who have served and continue to serve our nation. I've said many times, and it comes from my heart, we as a nation have a sacred obligation to properly equip and prepare our troops when we send them into harm's way, and to support them and their families, both while they are deployed and when they return home. The First Lady and I know that it is not only the person who wears the uniform serving our country, but also their families who make enormous sacrifices for our nation. As the poet John Milton wrote, they also serve who only stand and wait. We understand the feelings of pride, uncertainty, and fear when a loved one is deployed. Every morning, you wake up and say that extra prayer for them. Our veteran and military families do so much and ask for little. They are strong and adaptable, changing course to accommodate the needs of our country, often forgoing personal wishes. They are capable and proud, holding down the home front during their loved ones' deployments, coping through their absence and the risk of danger, and helping them readjust when they come home. These families and their soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians, and Coast Guardsmen are simply the best America has to offer. When they do not have what they need to thrive, it is not only individuals who suffer. If service members are worried that their spouse is struggling to keep food on the table or that their child is having a hard time in school, it is harder to focus on their mission. This is why supporting military families is the national security imperative. Throughout November, we show our appreciation to those spouses, partners, children, caregivers, and survivors of our service members and veterans for their selfless sacrifice on behalf of the nation. We honor them and their individual contributions. We share their pride in our armed forces, and we will never forget what they and their loved ones do for us.
At this time, we'll dismiss the members of our choir, who will be performing a selection under the direction of Mrs. Kari Moskal, Song for the Unsung Hero. Our guest speaker today grew up on a small dairy farm right here in Amery, was active in the FFA, wrestling, and tennis, graduated from Amery High School in 1986, a Gulf War veteran who spent 8.5 years on active duty in the United States Air Force. He deployed overseas to the United Arab Emirates, Cairo, Egypt, and Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. He is the past Vice Commander of the American Legion Post 169 in Amery and currently Second Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 7929 in Amery. Please join me in welcoming Commander David Porter.
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John 15:13. A few of you might have heard that passage before, but to a veteran, it resonates deep within the mind, the heart, and the soul. Good morning. Welcome, Superintendent Sean Duffler. Thank you, Principal Gould, for inviting me as a guest speaker. Thank you, students, veterans, and community members. Today's ceremony Welcome to today's ceremony, and thank you for attending. I'm Dave Porter, Commander of the VFW Post 7929 here in Amery. It is my honor and privilege to walk these halls once again and speak to you today on such an important occasion in the gymnasium that I have competed, graduated, and have been a spectator in. We are here today to honor the men and women of the United States Armed Forces and to remember the sacrifices they have made and the courage it took to defend, honor, and duty to our country. The men and women that we honor today came from all walks of life. Just in Amery alone, we have medical doctors that are veterans, dentists, we have plumbers, we have electricians. So they come from all walks of life and all here in Amery. We all share the same several fundamental qualities. We possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity. All the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend the freedoms and the way of life we all enjoy. Today, our troops continue to make commitments, and some have made the ultimate sacrifices. And even though we lose troops, more courageous Americans come forward and say, "I'm ready to serve." They follow the footsteps of our generations of fine Americans. As Principal Gould mentioned in my introduction, I grew up on a rural dairy farm just outside of Amery here. I learned at a very young age from my mom and dad that a person needs to work hard, take pride in what they do, and if you're going to do it right. I enjoyed working and growing up on the family farm. It was a lot of hard work, and it had its sacrifices, but offered the flexibility of working inside and out, and it gave me self-worth and a purpose of life growing up, which was very rewarding. I also realized that I didn't want to spend cold winters fixing broken equipment, which I witnessed my dad doing quite a few times and helping him out. And the constant wear on his body, he went through a couple hip replacements, back surgery, and all that stuff, and it just didn't appeal to me. But these basic principles and experiences that were still to me led me to the decision when I was 17 years old, a junior here in high school, that I would enter the delayed enlistment program. That following year, I graduated. In January, I entered the United States Air Force basic training. I saw the Armed Forces as an opportunity to share those same principles that I grew up with and offered a potential career full of growth and enrichment. I deployed in 1990 to the United Arab Emirates in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Desert Calm. I deployed to Cairo, Egypt in 1992. In 1995, I deployed to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I probably served 8.5 years in the Air Force. To this day, I still have contact with many of my friends. Last month, I was at a wedding to one of the guys I was stationed with in the Gulf War. Once a year, I travel down to St. Louis, and we have a reunion from my squadron. We have put our lives in each other's hands, just like all the other veterans and members of our armed forces do every day. It is important we honor all veterans. Many of them didn't ask to fight. Many didn't even volunteer. They didn't go to war because they loved fighting. They were called to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded to in extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to his country's call because they wanted to give back to a nation which has given them and us so much. Unfortunately, when our Vietnam veterans returned home from a very controversial time in America, they were not welcomed back with open arms, as with past and present conflicts. So it's very, very important to me that we recognize those veterans who never had a choice, who never received the honor and respect they deserved. They just did what they were ordered to do by the government officials at that time. I am humbled to be here in the presence of my comrades, dating back to World War II and up to the War of Afghanistan. Today, people throughout the country will gather to remember, to honor, and to pay gratitude to those who have served our country. Our gathering is just a small token of our appreciation, showing pride and to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can live in freedom. It is also a tribute to those lost troops and to their families. It is a way to say, we remember. You will never be forgotten. So while you are out and about, it doesn't matter what day of the year. When you see someone in uniform, a veteran wearing a hat or a t-shirt commemorating their service, simply go up to them and say, thank you for your service. You'd be surprised the look on their face and the smile they'll give you. It's priceless. We are the home of the free because of the brave. Thank you for attending today. God bless you and your family. God bless the men and women of the armed forces. And God bless the United States of America.
Now the Amery Band, directed by Meredith Rhodes-Lundgren, will play a selection entitled Marches of the Armed Forces. In celebrating these armed forces, I will announce the branch of the military as each song is played, and veterans, we invite you to stand to be recognized during the playing of your song. The United States Marine Corps. The United States Army. The United States Coast Guard. The United States Air Force. The United States Navy. Next up, Commander Porter has some awards to recognize.
Guess I ran off stage too quick. Each year, the Veterans of Foreign War host a competition. It's called the Voice of Democracy. It goes through the high school grades, and it's a 300-word essay. I'm sorry, wrong program. It's a 3-minute speech, and this year we had 22 applicants, but we can only select 3 winners. As I call your names, please come forward to receive your award. First place, Raina Bryan. Second place, Reese Benware. Third place, Eden Hosey. Just didn't want to give you too much to hold on. Give them a big round of applause, folks. Just so you know, for future reference, if you guys are interested in, First place is $150. Second place is $125. Third place, oh, I messed up, didn't I? I'm getting sign languages from Shirley. 150, 125, and 100? Okay. So please, I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
Thank you, Commander Porter. We ask everyone to please rise now for the duration of the program. The AHS band will lead us in the Star-Spangled Banner, followed by the Silence to the Fallen Comrades in Arms, and then playing of taps by sophomore Tia Lochner before ultimately retiring the colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, before me are the boots, rifle, helmet, and dog tags, the symbol of a fallen service person who has answered their country's call. This honor guard is made up of their comrades in arms, members of the American Legion, Post 169, and Veterans of Foreign War, Post 7929. We will now render the final salute to our departed comrade by firing 3 volleys and playing taps. Rifle squad, prepare to fire. Ready, aim, fire. Aim, fire. Aim, fire. Freeze and
Thank you, everybody, for your attendance today. Remember, you don't need to only thank a veteran on Veterans Day. You can thank them every single day. Students, we would ask that when you leave, leave from the locker room side doors. So all students, if you would come this way and go to your first block class. Guests, thank you much for joining us. Feel free to mingle and